Hi everyone, how are you doing today? I hope everyone is doing well and that you are ready for this pick a card reading. I'm going to shuffle the cards a little bit and lay out the 3 options, and afterwards, when you've made your decision, you can skip to that part of the video where I explain the meaning of your cards. We're going to do a pretty straightforward and simple one. We're going to look at what messages the universe wants you to see and know at this time. So I'm going to shuffle a bit just to cleanse the cards, to refresh the energies of the cards. Option number 1. Or should I put it here? No, it's already here. Option number 1. Option number 2. And number 3. This is a circular tarot deck, so it is based on the symbology of the tarot, but it has this interesting, unusual format. It's called the Mother Peace Tarot, if you're interested. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, I'm also going to use these gypsy cards, which have nothing to do with the tarot. I like to use them for fun. I found them on a marketplace. On an actual analog marketplace here in Budapest. And it was really cheap, so I decided to go for it. But I don't use it for divination purposes in and of itself. So, let's pick one for each message as well. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So the first option is marked by this light orange ball. The second option is marked by the bright orange ball. I hope you can see the difference. And the yellow ball marks the third option. It is up to you which one you choose. And it is also up to you what you use as your method of choosing, whether it's only your intuition, whatever you're connecting with at the moment, whether you're choosing by the number or the color of the ball. It's all up to you. All right, so let's get started with the first one. If you picked the first option, the light orange, then your card is the Six of Pentacles. And your Gypsy card is marriage. Now, I don't often use the Gypsy cards because I think it's too literal. It's too simplistic in a way. But it's an interesting thought experiment, and perhaps you can, in fact, relate to the idea of marriage in your life. But what I'm really picking up on here is the essence of the first message for the first card, or the first item, is actually the importance of making compromises, and how that's the key to a long-lasting, fruitful relationship of any kind. So the situation as described by the Gypsy cards is your efforts to create and maintain a durable and deep relationship of sorts. This could be emotional in nature, perhaps a business relationship, but the effort is there to create this unity, this soulful connection that brings value to your life. When two people get married, when the unity of such a bond is created, then the two people become more than just two people side by side. It's the emergence of an additional quality that makes the unity of marriage really powerful. And that is perhaps the secret ingredient to long-lasting and meaningful relationships. That third component in the unity of two. So, according to this card, your message, the Six of Pentacles, the best way to invite that togetherness, to create that bond, is to continually think of ways in which you can make sacrifices for the other person. And this is not a very modern idea, of course. We live in a very individualistic time where people and relationships are alienated, atomized. Everyone is encouraged to go their own way, to do their own thing. And the spirit of cooperation is not very popular. But the Six of Pentacles is exactly about the principle or the philosophy of reciprocity that actually generates more value in your life than if you were alone. And it's not only because of the actual value that you receive. Let's say here's this woman massaging somebody else. So the idea perhaps is that this could be, in the realm of reciprocity, and since the Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, they belong to the earth element, this could be a transaction. But what makes it different in a relationship is that you're not paying your spouse. There's no money involved. There's no immediacy involved in the exchange. So there's no rush to give back right away. There's no keeping score. It's just an ever accumulating pile of good deeds that fuels and energizes the relationship. So finding that wonderful balance, that give and take, that continuum of help and support that you can give to one another selflessly and in a really constructive way is the value. So it's not the massage. If it were, then you could simply pay for it and your relationship with your massage therapist would be the same as with your wife or your husband. But we know that it's not the same. It's the trust. It's the lack of immediacy. That's perhaps the best way that I can describe it. That creates that feeling of relaxation. You don't have to think about how you're going to repay them for the good that they are doing to you right now. You can relax into it. You can receive it. For many people, receiving is a lot easy or a lot more difficult than giving. And then, of course, there are people who have a problem on the other end. But a relationship, a long-term, stable relationship of any kind, friendship, family relationship, love relationship, marriage, business, whatever it may be, the advantage of it is that you can practice this. You can practice giving and receiving in this very wholesome rhythm that is very relaxing, and it generates positive feelings within you. So the message is to find this pathway in your relationships, especially in your most important relationship, whichever it may be. All right, the second card and the second message with the bright orange ball. Your gypsy card is Judge, and the tarot card is Seven of Pentacles. Okay. So the Judge is, it could be equated with the card of the superego. The concept of the superego from Freudian psychology, where a part of the personality, a part of the psyche is assigned to keep conscious control or to supervise the deeds and behaviors and thoughts, sometimes even, of the self. So there's either an external judge or an internal judge, but there's always control, there's always inhibitions, there's always rules, and there's always limitations. So in your case, I think the most important thing to ask is where the judge is. Is the judge within you? Are you being judged by yourself? Or is the judge outside of you, an external circumstance that is slowing you down and making things more difficult? Because the message that you need to hear right now is that things are slowing down. The Seven of Pentacles is a frustrating card. It's asking you to remain patient and to wait and to be humble and respect the process. It is going to take some time for the truth and for the good results to come to the surface. But ultimately, it always does. It is only an illusion that the Seven of Pentacles creates, that there's no progress. And in this frustrating, irritating environment, a lot of bad decisions can be born. So this is a little bit of a warning too, to give it time. The pregnant lady in the field of these pumpkins or whatever they are, she has no control over what is taking place. She's already on this path, on this trajectory that is pointing to the eventual birth of a child. They have no control over whether the child is going to be healthy or not. They have no control over when exactly they are going to show up. They have no control over how the thing itself is going to play out. But she is engaged with the process. She is going through it. She surrenders. And the judge in this particular situation could be your own self, blaming yourself for not doing things better when you had the chance. So with the Seven of Pentacles, there can be a level of regret, looking back into the past and thinking, I could have done it differently, I could have acted differently, but it's too late now. The process, the elements, the factors of the process are already baked in, and I have no further choice. I just need to let it play out. So in that sense, the judge can show up as this not very constructive voice of reiterating your past mistakes and constantly bullying you with the awareness of those mistakes. So that's not very helpful. There can also be an external circumstance, because with the Seven of Pentacles, there's always some sort of a physical, material obstacle that is not within you, that is outside of you, that you simply need to bow down to. So the judge could represent that, those external limitations that show up and control the narrative. It is simply, or not simply, but truthfully, it is best to wait this out to see how it's going to go. At this point, there's no use tearing yourself apart over past mistakes. It's no use pleading and arguing with the judge of your external circumstances. The only reasonable path forward is to simply allow things to play out as they will. And now let's also have a look at the third card. The third message with the yellow ball. Your gypsy card is enemy. Okay. And the tarot card is the Ace of Swords. Okay. So the question is, what is the enemy? Who is the enemy? Where is the enemy? What exactly is it that you're fighting? And what is your weapon? Is it useful enough? Or are you trying to do something that's not working? I'm picking up on the strong frustration of someone who is constantly trying to apply the same solution to the same problem and is re-traumatized each and every time it doesn't work. And since we have the Ace of Swords here, which swords connect with the intellect, the mind, and the aces, they represent the pathways, the moments of grace when something finally falls in place, a revelation, an insight. The enemy is the mind, really. I don't think there's an external enemy here. It is your way of thinking, your logic, that is flawed in some way or another. If you're suffering, if you can relate to this, if you feel like there's someone or something out to get you, if you relate to the card of the enemy, then this card is here to tell you that the enemy really is within. And I think that sounds a little bit banal and simplistic. But sometimes, often actually, it is so hard to see that it is our own mind that is playing tricks on us. And it's not the other person's fault. It's not the evil wrongdoings of this evil mastermind that we sometimes portray other people out to be. But it is the inner workings of the mind, the self-referential, paradoxical nature of thought loops that generates misery. And the message is the Ace of Swords is asking you to relax into the situation, knowing that there's no need to look for an external enemy for now. There's no need to scrutinize other people's behaviors. There's no need to laser focus on what people are doing to you or have done to you. Instead, it is more important to, number one, relax into the moment and create space for a new perspective to be born. So the very first step to doing that perhaps is to admit to yourself that it's not 100% sure that what you're seeing is true. It's not the ultimate truth, what your thoughts are telling you necessarily. More often than not, thoughts are random, even malicious, and they can lead you astray really easily. The thoughts that you have, the perceptions that you have of a situation, of other people's intent and their agenda, it can really taint your sense of security within yourself. So, the Ace of Swords is asking you to create that space, that possibility for a new interpretation to be born. And once you do that, you increase the chance of a new understanding, a new insight to arrive to you. The Ace of Swords is the aha moment of recognizing something that's been perhaps in front of your eyes for ages. You've just ignored it, you haven't noticed it, but it's been there. And it's the euphoric moment, the eureka moment of connecting the dots and seeing the big picture. So I encourage you to doubt the validity, the importance of your own perceptions, of your own judgments, especially of other people when you're looking for enemies, and to simply slow down and keep the door open for a different explanation to manifest. I hope that you enjoy this reading. Thank you for participating. Thank you for coming along for the ride. And I hope to see you in another reading.